here in Incheon, over right in the north of South Korea. We are here today with day number 1 of the TSL 8 Korean qualifiers. A little bit more of an interesting format for these, but man oh man, that just makes it all the more hype. I'm of course your host, Yaku of Yakuzaku, and with me today is El que no eres en este día de todos los santos, Light _ VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Welcome everyone to Shopify TSL 8 Korean qualifier number 1. Mein Gott. And it's great to be back. It's great to be here, especially with these lovely players. And mate, I didn't realize how brutal this qualifier was gonna be.
Yeah, boy, it is. Oh boy, it's something very, very cutthroat. But at least there are plenty of qualifying spots and a couple of qualifiers. We'll see how much of a consolation that is. So as we kick things off on Hotwire LE, we're in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team NV. Having a little bit of a resurgence lately, he is NightMare.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Terran player. He is red, representing Team GP. It is Ryung. Yes, the Tuna Terran himself, and mate, so a couple of things happened. One, obviously there's a pretty large bracket here. We have plenty of English casters. We have ourselves, we have Chicken Man, we have Wardy, we have Rotterdam, we have a lot of English casters, but plenty of matches going on for us to spread out. And I thought we were gonna be fine. As we were getting, as lobby links were being posted, there were so many lobby links. I was like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. And I guess Chicken Man also had the same idea as we did.
Great minds think alike.
They do. We need to be better at communicating with people. I was just assuming. I was like, yo, we got lobby links flying out all over the place. It's fine. We're gonna be good. We'll get the very last one. And I guess Chicken Man thought the same thing. So, mate, we all just
we're so yeah. Hey, what is it called? Self-esteem ? We're like, yeah, no. We'll give ourselves the lowest priority here, both Chicken Man and us over at the CranKy Ducklings. But that's why we're all bird brothers,
We are.
The ducks and the chickens.
Yes, birds of a feather and all that good stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah!
Much love to Chicken Man. Shout out to him. Unfortunately, we are covering the same series. We will attempt to spread out as best we can to make sure we can cover as much as humanly possible. But of course, after a couple of rounds, people are going to start, converging anyway because it is single elimination.
It is. I guess hinted at that a little bit, but yeah, for the Korean qualifiers, pretty understandably, based on how the schedule works out and everything, it is a single elim as opposed to the NA and EU qualifiers, which start off single elim, but then eventually become double elim.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty brutal, to be honest, because now seeding matters all the more, right? Because you don't have that lower bracket to fall back on. Again, I just didn't realize the Korean qualifiers were as brutal as this. I have to wonder why that is the case. It's hard to say. It's hard to say why the Korean one is different compared to all the others, but it is all good. Regardless, we are here in a bit of a PvT, and if I'm not wrong, I feel like this is a series that we've already casted like a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago, maybe.
Maybe.
Don't remember what went on in the NA qualifiers myself, but yeah,
Were you not there?
NightMare is what?
Were you not
I was
there?
there. It was just a long, long broadcast. So
that's fair.
Just sort of melts together. But yeah, I kind of feel like we get this particular matchup, Ryung versus NightMare, fairly often, not just in qualifiers and whatnot, but also in a lot of weekly events, just because of how seeding works out. I guess it does make sense. Both of them are on about similar levels, right, when it comes to how active they are, and, well, maybe not how active they are, but based on how well they place in a lot of these events.
Yeah, exactly. I was just double checking, and the last time these two faced each other were in the qualifiers for GSL, the most recent season, where Ryung came out on top, but it did go all the way to the Ace match. So we'll see how this goes, especially, you know, in a new map pool, you know, now like Hardwire, you know, Hardwire, Curious Minds, like all these new maps, they do kind of favor different play styles in certain ways, and we'll see how that goes, as already the first Oracle does get 1 SCV.
Yeah, but it definitely could have been a lot worse here for Ryung. I guess the best value that NightMare got out of this, he confirms his 3 racks. He confirms that the bio is already coming his way. Stim Marines, can I get the Oracle? No! Feels bad, man.
It doesn't get the Oracle.
Those Marines just to get the Oracle.
Yeah, and now NightMare is well aware of the attack that's coming his way. He's throwing down some shield batteries. The shield batteries are honestly a little bit late, so they shouldn't really come into play, but the bio is already here. Again, we have to be careful. Ryung, every single stim hurts him here as he's pushing without medevacs.
Yeah, I can't imagine Ryung expects to get too much done here, but best case scenario, he at least is able to get rid of the third base, or stim on forward and really start going toe-to-toe with the gateway units.
Yeah.
Battery helping out a ton.
It really did, but you know what? He shaved through so many of those units already, taking out a couple of these Stalkers as well, but the Blink Marker is too good.
Yeah, Ryung trying to target fire weakened Stalkers, but NightMare just blinks them backwards. Not just in range of the shield batteries, but also away from the actual fight. Ryung takes a lot more volleys from the Stalkers than he perhaps needed to.
Yeah, exactly. He did trade more efficiently gas-wise if we look at the units lost, but he still lost a lot. 19 Marines! Jesus Christ, so many of them went down in that fight.
Yeah, and considering it is a 3-racks, the follow-up is going to be very, very delayed. There is a massive opening where Ryung is a bit more vulnerable, especially with how well NightMare is able to micro Stalkers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, NightMare, he's trying to chip away and do whatever damage he can, and he already is, right? He already forced a stim. Didn't really lose too much at all behind this. He's just getting fully saturated on 3 bases, and again, he's just being so annoying here. Wants to pick off even more.
Yeah, it just kind of hit me how little damage Ryung was able to do across the map, right?
Oh god, exactly. Like, he got a shield battery and some gateway units. So now NightMare, he's ahead when it comes to the workers. That bunker, yo, it could go down. One more volley is all it takes.
Come on, blink forward. Doesn't quite get it. Repair is there in time.
Yeah, thankfully, Ryung does keep it alive. He's going for a bit of a double drop, but yo, NightMare, he's aware of it. He's going to try and intercept. Oh god! Oh god!
But the bio already lands. We'll be able to catch a couple of these Stalkers before they really get much of anything. Nice couple of free kills here for Ryung.
Yeah, exactly. The War Prism almost rallied into its death. Thankfully, the control was there. NightMare just barely keeps the War Prism alive, and now in comes the rest of the Gateway army. Bearing in mind that, again, this is just pure Gateways. You know, there's no Immortals, no Colossus, nothing like that. Just Blink and Force Fields.
Yeah, which you don't want to underestimate when it's pure bio like this. About tanks cutting off half of the army is absolutely key right now for NightMare to engage.
God, that it is. Very rarely do you see armies like this, right? Like pure gateway against pure bio. But, you know, it's happening here. Meanwhile, the War Prism is trying to sneak into the main base. Ooh, the missile turret is just not done. We'll see how much damage this stroke can get done. At the same time, NightMare wants to go in with his main army.
Yeah, Ryung is keeping very active. He's keeping his eyes on just about every potential opening that he's got, or that NightMare has against him. The War Prism is actually looking a little exposed.
Oh, very exposed. Does bait a stim out, so at least he does able to achieve that. But he has to be careful because now Widow Mines are finally coming in. Not just Widow Mines, behind this Ghost Academy is almost halfway done.
Yeah, which, funnily enough, there isn't any High Templar or anything like that, so... But despite that, EMP is still going to be very, very valuable, just cutting the health of the Protoss army in two, essentially.
Definitely, as Ryung now has control of his side of the map, he can now start moving on forward. Ghosts are finally in production here, as you said. Like, I feel like it's a blessing in disguise that there are no High Templar. Like, he's the first, well,
yeah, honestly.
Yeah, Ryung is the first to get splash damage.
Yeah, it's also pretty surprising that NightMare at this point is opting for Colossus instead of High Templar, but when you see a very bio-heavy army, I guess you may as well go for it, right?
Yeah, he needs something, right? Something other than just pure gateway. Meanwhile, it looks like the 4th base is going to go down. It is going to be killed. NightMare has to wait to bide his time even for the Colossus to pop out.
Bite his time as well.
Ooh.
But yeah, one Colossus is out. Thermalant's still about only halfway done.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, it is double Robo Colossus production, so because of that, the Colossus are going to be coming out 2 at a time, a decent amount of them, so we can try and catch up. But oh god, he has to be so careful. The first Colossus is already here.
Well, they will eventually start getting out 2 at a time, but without a 4th base, NightMare is really starving for minerals.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit surprised by the lack of production there. Meanwhile, we see a blink on forward, but oh god, he has to be careful. The Ghosts were ready to EMP.
Yeah, didn't quite get them though. Force fields, unfortunately, not on the choke point. A little bit in the wide open area, so Sentry's almost wasting their energy. Ryung wants to get Mind Drop, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't getting it.
He does respond well there, making sure the Mind Drop is still alive. He can dip in whenever he wants. Meanwhile, EMP does connect on a lot of the sentries.
Yeah, no more force fields available. The Marines are starting to get shredded, but the Marauders are still standing. Ghosts don't have enough energy for another EMP, though.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough numbers there for Ryung. It looks like he will lose 1 full medevac, 2 medevacs, but at the same time, the Mind Drop does dive in, and he's actually getting some probe kills.
Yeah, he's even able to evacuate his mine. Oh, is this in range? Is this in range? It's just barely not in range.
Feels bad, man. Well, I mean, at least he got 5 probe kills, and yeah, just 5 probe kills. He escaped
5 probe kills. He's able to delay the 4th base for a long time.
Yeah, he's able to escape with some of his army. Unfortunately, every single ghost died. There were no ghosts remaining here in this medevac drop, and NightMare is now going for his counterattack.
And it is a pretty scary looking one. All things considered, though, Ryung has a decent amount of Vikings out. He still has a couple of ghosts with plenty of EMPs. Really good connection on top of those sentries. Once again, the micro potential for NightMare isn't as good as it could be because the sentries keep getting EMP'd.
Yeah, that they do. The sentries are kind of dead weight here, but at least they add a little bit of DPS, I guess, question mark. Regardless, he has to be careful. It's true.
Sentry anti-air, right?
It's better than nothing, mate. It's better than nothing. Yeah. As he does deny the 4th base of Ryung, but just delay a little bit as it is still on the way, unlike previously where Ryung was able to get a kill on the 4th. NightMare only just now getting it back up and running.
Yeah, finally NightMare is going to be able to saturate his economy. It's going to get nice and stable, so that double robo production is really coming into effect. 2 disruptors at a time, plus a Dark Shrine, plus eventually High Templar.
Yeah.
NightMare, it looked pretty shaky for a little while, but he's finally able to stabilize. And 4 bases, that's kind of sweet spot for Protoss mid game, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a terrifying Protoss player. Like, now that he's gotten to the point where he's got Colossus, Disruptors, and Storm, all 3 forms of splash damage and AoE, this is crazy. And I'm sure Ryung didn't want the game to go on this long. I'm sure he wanted to try and go for a kill move earlier. Especially,
there's a reason why he went for a 3-Rax, right?
Yeah. I'm sure with his aggression, he wanted to try and snowball. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and he's forced into a more of a late game or a longer game.
Yeah, he was able to keep active with his army for a very long time, I will say that. But fortunately, NightMare has been able to defend long enough that now we are getting to a late game scenario. Ryung is maxed out though. Gonna look to utilize that.
He is maxed out. He's got 2-2 as well, so he does have that upgrade advantage. 3-3 starts immediately. He's working on ship attack as well for those Vikings. Oh god, we'll see if he can do this. The army is scouted though. It is spotted by these Zealots. The Disruptors are coming out.
Yeah, they're looking very exposed, but the army from Ryung pulls away a little bit too late. Do get a chunk of bio, and an even better chunk of bio. That's basically the entire ground army taken out here.
Jesus Christ, 2-3, I think 4 shots connected there, those Disruptors, and one of them was incredibly juicy there with that NightMare. He just has so much momentum, he can just go and end the game.
Yeah, one of them was incredibly juicy, 3 of them were juicy enough. that NightMare has full momentum right now, and he is not letting up. I don't believe he has a warp in position, but doesn't really matter in the end.
Yeah, really, the one thing keeping Ryung is this are the force fields of NightMare. As I have to...
Funnily enough.
Yeah, finally they start to dissipate, and with that, so will Ryung here. Again, sometimes it only takes one, and that was an amazing one at that, when it came to the disruptor shots.
Sometimes it only takes one. NightMare got 1 plus 3.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. As more disruptor shots go off, and with this, NightMare is just powering on through. He is losing his disruptors here again, being a little bit sloppy, but there's just still so much more behind this. I also just realized that this man never even stormed.
He did not. He didn't get High Templar. He didn't need High Templar. He wanted to go for the triple crown of Protoss splash damage, right? The hat trick, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, his purification was too good.
It's one of those things. He's gonna have a talk with us at Temple. I'm sorry, I wanted to use you, but I was I was just too good. I just didn't need you.
It's like, why didn't we get any playtime? It's like, look, you'll get him eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault we won before I could warp you guys in.
Yeah.
But yeah, GG, well played from NightMare there. He does take game number 1. I will say that it was a very impressive showing from Ryung, though. I mean, his 3 racks got scouted. It got deflected very, very early on. But despite that, he did keep very active on the map. He did prevent a 4th base coming up for so long. Unfortunately, as it went on long enough, it did end up getting deflected. But yeah, well played. The game number 2 will be on Chicken Man's channel. He will be jumping into a different series.
I do apologize because I was just dragged into this. Me and Mike was like, huh! he just yoinked me over, and I was like, oh, what? I was a little bit disoriented, just like you. Yes, I did mention earlier that I wanted us to kind of like split up a little bit, and as amazing of a game as that was, the series will conclude over on Chicken Man's channel. Again, there are 4 streams and plenty of games going on, so we'll bite the bullet. Chicken Man, you got it, mate. Go over to his channel. He's got Ryung, he's got NightMare. We have 2 other very different players.